episode 1, guys. I'm going to start doing a series every day, every Tuesday, my bad, at 11 o'clock West Coast time. So that's 2 o'clock on the East Coast. We're going to do a half hour to an hour show where we're chopping it up on the current state of the NFL. We're going to be talking off-season stuff. We're going to be talking draft stuff. And for the next 2 weeks, we're going to be talking a ton about the Super Bowl. Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs have a chance at history, guys. There's no way around it. No team has ever won 3 Super Bowls in a row. The Kansas City Chiefs look to become the greatest dynasty in NFL history. It's quite remarkable what they've been able to do. And they live and die on these one-score games, and they've been winning the majority of them this season. It's pretty remarkable what Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid have accomplished over the past, 5, 7, 10 years. It's very, very impressive, man. If you look through the games won, they beat the Texans by 2 scores technically, and then beating the Bills by 3 points. They beat the Ravens by 7, Bengals by 1, Falcons by 5, Chargers by 7, Saints by 3, 49ers by 10, Raiders by 7, Buccaneers by 6, Broncos by 2. They lost to Buffalo. And then they beat the Panthers by 3, the Raiders by 2, the Chargers by 2, the Browns by 2 touchdowns, Texans by 8. Whoo, baby. This Kansas City Chiefs team has kind of defied the odds in the fact that being able to win this many one-score games, if you look at the history of the NFL, is pretty impossible, right? So in today's episode, I want to talk some keys for both of these teams to win the Super Bowl, right? So, first off, I want to give Jalen Hurts his flowers, man. This dude has been under the microscope since he took over in Philadelphia, and the dude just wins, flat out. Jalen Hurts, all the dude does is win football games. Second time in 3 years, he's leading the Philadelphia Eagles to another Super Bowl. Pretty remarkable stuff. I think Jalen Hurts needs to be talked about more in the upper echelon of NFL quarterbacks, right? You could have the best arm. You could have all these things that look great on tape. But if you look at the statistics, they do not lie. Patrick Mahomes, in his 4 years of a starter, has more Super Bowl appearances than Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Tua, Trevor Lawrence, and Dak Prescott combined. It's pretty remarkable stuff what Jalen Hurts has been able to accomplish. So I just want to give this dude his flowers because he deserves it. Going back to another Super Bowl, and these guys look hungry. The Eagles, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley especially look really hungry. And the Chiefs have to play a lot better brand of football if they want to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay. Andrew Pack, bro, what's going on, dude? Welcome to the live stream. Okay. The first thing I want to talk about is the Kansas City Chiefs, right? For me, they got to get Travis Kelce going. Travis Kelce needs to get going. He did not have a good game against the Buffalo Bills. They kind of iced him out. And, scattering some passes to Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy, who had a pretty good game as well. I don't think it's going to get it done, especially because the Philadelphia Eagles corners are considerably better than what the Buffalo Bills put out there on Sunday. Christian Bedford was banged up all week. Taylor Rapp didn't even play. And then Bedford dressed, and then he got a concussion and got hurt on the first drive of the game. So the Philadelphia Eagles have Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, and Darius Slay. Patrick Mahomes is going to have a lot harder time getting these wide receivers open than he did on Sunday. So in order for them to get a W, I think Travis Kelce needs to be a big part of the game plan. Reed Blankenship had a lot of trouble with Zach Ertz. So I think getting Travis Kelce going is huge. I think another thing the Chiefs need to get going is the run game. The run game has been not great the last few weeks, guys. That's for sure. They need to be better running the football. Against Buffalo, Pacheco's kind of been MIA, man. 5 carries for 12 yards, averaging 2.4 yards per carry. That's not going to get it done. Kareem Hunt, 17 of 64, under 4 yards a carry. Christina Amro, welcome to the live chat. What is going on? Kareem Hunt, 17 of 64, 3.8 yards a carry. That's just not going to get it done. It's just not going to get it done. Even Patrick Mahomes averaged under 4 yards a carry in that AFC Championship game. They need to run the ball more effectively. But can they run the football against the Philadelphia Eagles front seven? That remains to be seen, right? Really, really does. And Patrick Mahomes wasn't great against the Texans, only 170 yards passing. If you look at the box score, Kareem Hunt, 8 carries for 44 yards. Pacheco, 5 for 18. As a team, 22 carries for 50 yards against the Texans, 2.3 yards per carry. The Kansas City Chiefs are becoming extremely one-dimensional, in my opinion. And if they want to beat the Philadelphia Eagles, who this is the best football team they faced all year, it's not even close. It's not even close, guys. They got to be better. And the next thing, another key to victory, my third one, is they got to stop the run against the Philadelphia Eagles. Saquon Barkley has been extremely impressive, man. He's been absolutely unbelievable. Joe Mixon, who had a lot of trouble running the football in his previous 5 games before they played the Chiefs in the playoffs, he went 18 for 88, 4.9 yards per carry. As a team, the Texans went 29 for 149, over 5 yards a carry. If you think you're going to beat the Eagles by allowing them to rush for over 5 yards a carry, I think that's going to be a very, very tall order for the Kansas City Chiefs. James Cook had a really good game against the Chiefs as well. 13 carries, 85 yards, 2 touchdowns. Listen, the Buffalo Bills really fucked up in the fact that they only gave James Cook 13 carries in that game. That was a huge mistake. They need to get him the ball more. Having Josh Allen carry the ball 11 times just doesn't make any sense to me. He was averaging under 3.5 yards per carry. If you take out the one long run of 13 yards, it's 10 carries for 26 yards. That's 2.6 yards per carry. And James Cook is over here averaging 6.5 yards per carry. It was just a bad game plan by the offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills. They needed to get him more involved and stop giving the ball to Ty Johnson and Ray Davis, who combined 8 carries for 23 yards. James Cook was underutilized in the spot. The Philadelphia Eagles are not going to be underutilizing Saquon Barkley. That is for sure. They need to be better. The Chiefs need to stop the run, get Kelce involved, stop the run, and they need to run the ball more effectively too. That's 3 keys that I think will help the Kansas City Chiefs win this football game, guys. I do not want them to win. That is for damn sure. But now, let's flip it to the Philadelphia Eagles. How do the Philadelphia Eagles win this game versus the Kansas City Chiefs? Number 1 is to keep Patrick Mahomes in the pocket, right? They cannot allow, on third down especially, for Patrick Mahomes to extend drives. They need to keep Patrick Mahomes contained. They need to be disciplined in their gap schemes when they're rushing the quarterback. They cannot get in a situation where they're bull rushing both guys with no linebacker help, spying Patrick Mahomes, and just allow him to break, contain, and flush out and pick up easy first downs. That is a huge key to victory for the Philadelphia Eagles, right? For me, the Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver room doesn't impress me at all whatsoever. Xavier Worthy, Juju Smith-Schuster, Hollywood Brown. I do not see them as a huge and obvious threat. With Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell and Darius Slay, they should be able to contain these wide receivers. So that goes, when I'm flipping this, is they got to contain Travis Kelce. That game against Houston was inexcusable, where Travis Kelce was just wandering around like a homeless goat, just sitting in the middle of the field, just wide open, munching on the grass. Not a soul in sight. Very, very bad scheme by the Texans, and they made no adjustments, and Kelce torched them in the divisional round. That's inexcusable. Reed Blankenship, the Eagles' safety, has to be better. He got his lunch eaten by Zach Ertz last week. Ertz, former Philadelphia Eagle, Super Bowl champion with the Philadelphia Eagles. 11 catches for over 100 yards for a guy that's 34 going on 35 is pretty inexcusable in my opinion. I mean, Travis Kelce, 2 for 19. The Bills did a really good job. So the Buffalo Bills allowing Kelce to only get 2 catches for 19 yards and still giving up 32 points is really inexcusable in my opinion. They did not account for Patrick Mahomes when he ran for those 2 touchdowns. Inexcusable in my opinion. Inexcusable in my opinion. No interceptions by either quarterback in this game. Patrick Mahomes did have 1 fumble. That should have been enough for the Buffalo Bills to win this game, guys, but it wasn't. And, a few mistakes here and there really cost the Buffalo Bills. And the Buffalo Bills were really, really bad on 3rd and 4th down. Just straight up. 5 for 14 on 3rd down. 9 for 21 on 3rd and 4th down. Just not going to get it done. They kept trying to do the tush-push. They just don't have the meat in the middle of that offensive line to be able to do that against Chris Jones. The Philadelphia Eagles, on the other hand, will be fine doing that. And then for me, the Philadelphia Eagles contain Patrick Mahomes, keep him in the pocket, and then we want to limit what Travis Kelce does down the field. Limit Travis Kelce. And then they got to stay with the run early and often. They cannot get in a situation where they're throwing the ball, having Jalen Hurts throwing the ball. I don't even really want to see him throw it over 20 times. I think 20 for 28, what he did last week versus the Commanders, is the perfect sweet spot. Between 20 and 25 passes for Jalen Hurts, I think that's the way to go. The Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl a few years ago had a lot of success versus the Chiefs. And it's pretty much the same defense. So I expect them to be very efficient on offense in this game. I love the Philadelphia Eagles in this spot. And then Saquon Barkley. They early and often contain Patrick Mahomes, limit Travis Kelce down the field, and I need Saquon Barkley to carry the ball over 20 times. 15 carries isn't enough for Saquon Barkley. He would have had more if the game was a little bit closer, obviously, so that's okay. If they're blowing them out, that's a whole different story. But Saquon Barkley needs to get over 20 carries. Over 20 carries. You need to limit the amount of touchdowns. Where the Bills lost that game is allowing Patrick Mahomes to break the pocket. I mean, he was pretty efficient, 18 for 26. That's pretty solid passing-wise. I mean, it's not like blow the doors off efficient, but, if Patrick Mahomes is going to complete around 70% of his passes, it's probably going to be a long day for the Philadelphia Eagles. So they have to be a little bit better, in my opinion, attacking and using their toughness against these wide receivers. The Philadelphia Eagles need to be more physical. Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean and Darius Slay are a lot more physical than the Chiefs wide receivers. Cole Bishop, that safety for the Bills that allowed 160-pound Xavier Worthy to rip the ball out of his hands, is pathetic. Straight up, that dude got bitched on that play. It's inexcusable. You either knock the ball down or you secure the interception. To let a 160-pound wide receiver wrestle the ball out of your hands is inexcusable, in my opinion, guys. Completely and utterly inexcusable. That will not happen against the Philadelphia Eagles. Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean are extremely physical cornerbacks with great size. So, the Eagles want to play a physical game of football and keep doing exactly what they were doing the past few weeks in those 3 playoff wins. The Philadelphia Eagles have been playing their brand of football, guys, and I was a little shocked when I saw that the Kansas City Chiefs are favorites in this spot. Because if you look at these rosters, hat for hat, the Philadelphia Eagles are pretty much better in every single position minus the quarterback position. Honestly, I think Jalen Carter and Chris Jones are a wash. I really do at this point in Chris Jones' career. Jalen Carter is a huge force. Chris Jones will be 31 this summer. Jalen Carter is entering the prime of his career. That's a wash for me. The Eagles are better at running back. Their offensive line is considerably better at every single offensive line position. The front 7, I like the Eagles front 7. I take the Eagles front 7 all day over the Chiefs. The Chiefs at the cornerback position are pretty strong. But the Eagles with Cooper DeJean, Darius Slay, Quinyon Mitchell, I like their unit more than I like the Chiefs' unit. The cornerbacks for the Chiefs, McDuffie has had a great year. He's been the best cornerback we've seen in Kansas City in quite some time. He's very, very impressive stuff, though. But he's got to cover A.J. Brown. So to me, that opens up things for Devontae Smith. I think Devontae Smith could have a huge game in this spot. The Kansas City Chiefs, it seems like the money's coming in on the Chiefs because, obviously we've seen some very questionable calls over the last few weeks. Chiefs now on DraftKings are minus 1.5 point favorites. I did see that climb up to 2 points yesterday. Philadelphia Eagles getting plus 1.5. The over-under sitting at 49.5. Chiefs are coming in at minus 130. Eagles are coming in at plus 110. Let me know in the comments below if you guys are making any bets on these games. I would love to hear what bets you're making. I did take the Eagles and plus 3.5, I think. So I like that bet for the Philadelphia Eagles. This could come down to a very, very similar game to the Chiefs-Bills game. But I just don't see the Chiefs scoring 32 points against the Philadelphia Eagles defense. I just think they match up very well with this Chiefs team. I think the Chiefs are going to have a lot of trouble with Vic Fangio's defense, right? He's going to make Patrick Mahomes utilize 10, 7, 5-yard passes and beat you the length of the field each and every time. I don't see Vic Fangio giving up a lot of big plays. I think Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean and Darius Slay are a lot more physical, a lot better than the receivers that the Chiefs are putting out there, guys. I just don't see how Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, and Juju Smith-Schuster get the best of Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, and Darius Slay. C.J. Gardner-Johnson has been playing extremely well too, guys. So, let me know in the comments below, who do you think is going to win this game? Are you going with the Kansas City Chiefs? It's hard not to bet on the Chiefs, right? It really is, at minus 130. I think betting huge money on the Chiefs is not a bad idea. Because, for me, as an Eagles fan, I bet huge on the Chiefs. They either win me a lot of money, or the Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. That seems like a win-win in my opinion, right? So, this game is going to be a lot of fun. Super Bowl 59 is in New Orleans, guys. 6:30 Eastern Time. 6:30 Eastern Time on February 9th. That's when kickoff is. Philadelphia Eagles, underdogs right now to the Kansas City Chiefs. This is the 11th time New Orleans has hosted the Super Bowl. I hope the field conditions are a lot better this go around with the Chiefs and the Eagles, because the last time they played, I think it was in Arizona, the field conditions were horrendous for both teams. Like the worst Super Bowl field conditions I've ever seen in my entire life. So hopefully in New Orleans, it'll be a little bit better. The Philadelphia Eagles defeated Washington 55-23. A lot of points scored in these conference championship games. Usually I like taking unders in playoff games, but these games, not a lot of defense was played except for the Philadelphia Eagles, guys. Yeah, Jazz, I think you're right on the money with that. So to beat the Chiefs, you got to come out and rip their throat out, right? You got to come in and kick their ass. You cannot let Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid be in a one-score game with them getting the ball back. You cannot do that. You cannot do that. It will not work out for you. You need to do what Tom Brady and company did to the Chiefs. You need to rip their throat out. 31-9, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers kicked the dog shit out of the Chiefs. That's how the Eagles win this game. They need to come for their throat. They need to punch them in the face, rip out their souls, so Patrick Mahomes has no chance of winning this football game. Keep Patrick Mahomes out of the end zone. Allow them to kick field goals. And that's how the Philadelphia Eagles win this game. The Kansas City Chiefs have won the last two Super Bowls by a combined 6 points. So, they beat San Francisco by 3, and they beat the Eagles by 3 back in 2023. So, this game's probably going to be close, but this Kansas City Chiefs team is not the Kansas City Chiefs team of 2 years ago. They're not as good, straight up. The Philadelphia Eagles are a way better football team, in my opinion, than they were 2 years ago when they faced the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. You know, I just think the Eagles are a lot better of a football team. They really are. And if the Eagles don't get outscored 17-8 in the fourth quarter, the Philadelphia Eagles win that Super Bowl. But Patrick Mahomes, 21-27, 182 for 3 touchdowns. Yeah, there's no way that's happening, Jazz. There's no way that's happening. They allowed both Joe Mixon and James Cook to rush for over 5 yards a carry. The Eagles' offensive line is considerably better than both of those teams. And now they're going to stop the best running back on planet Earth in the biggest game of his career. The only way he rushes for under 100 yards, guys, is if he gets hurt. That's the only chance the Chiefs have of slowing down Saquon Barkley. They have got shredded on the ground the last 2 weeks. Straight up. Straight up. They have gotten absolutely shredded on the ground. James Cook and Joe Mixon both had really, really, really good games. And Saquon Barkley is better than both of those guys combined. The Buffalo Bills rushed for 147 yards, over 4.6 yards per carry. And that's with Josh Allen not running the ball effectively at all whatsoever. I find it very hard to believe that the Kansas City Chiefs are capable of slowing down Saquon Barkley. The week before in the divisional game, Joe Mixon rushed for over 4.8 yards per carry. 18 carries, 88 yards, 4.9 yards per carry, and 1 touchdown. As a team, the Houston Texans, 29 carries, 149 yards, over 5 yards per carry. So they're giving up over 5 yards a carry the last 2 weeks. I don't know. the Chiefs' offense hasn't been like, they only scored 23 points against the Texans, and the Philadelphia Eagles' defense is way better than the Texans. So, if the Eagles shut down the Kansas City Chiefs, I wouldn't be surprised. Nancy Amarillo, welcome to the live stream. Thanks for tuning in. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs offense has not been very efficient when you look at the totality of the NFL season, right? I mean, they got shut out against the Broncos, but Mahomes didn't play. 29 versus the Steelers, 27 versus the Texans, 21 versus the Browns, 19 versus the Chargers, 19 versus the Raiders, 14 against the Broncos, 21 against the Bills in the loss. They haven't been an extremely efficient offense all year long. And I don't expect the Tiger to shed his stripes in this particular situation. I think Vic Fangio is going to do a great job scheming it up and limit Patrick Mahomes. I think this is a 28-20, 28-17, 27-19 type of game. I think Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to have to kick a lot of field goals in this spot. Their kicker is a D-bag, but he is a very, very good kicker. He's a very accurate kicker. And on the flip side, Eagles, Jake Elliott has not been good at all. He has been awful. Jake Elliott has been extremely inconsistent and pretty flat out terrible over 50 yards. If Jake Elliott misses kicks, the Eagles are going to lose this game. Straight up, guys. The Eagles will lose this game if Jake Elliott misses kicks. They cannot leave points on the board. For a team that went 15-2, the Chiefs 385 points for, 326 points against. That's a pretty close ratio. The Chargers and Denver had similar ratios, 402 to 301 and 425 to 311. Not great. They're not scoring a lot of points this year, guys. They're just not doing it. And the Eagles have the number one defense in the NFL. And against really good defenses, they struggle to score points. Against the Broncos, they scored 14. And they scored 0. Against the Browns, 21. Against the Chargers, they scored 19. Against the Raiders, they scored 19. Against the Chargers earlier in the year, they only scored 17. Only 22 against the Falcons and that mediocre defense. They've only scored 30, They've hit 30 on the nose twice. They have not scored over 30 points all year long in the regular season. 32 points the Buffalo Bills gave up was the most points that they scored all season long. Not a great performance by the Buffalo Bills defense. Yeah, I think everyone's kind of on that same page where I think most NFL fans do not want to see the Chiefs win, especially if they've been getting some of these weirdo calls over the last couple weeks. So we'll see what happens, guys. I think the Philadelphia Eagles win this spot. I'm predicting 28-20. The Philadelphia Eagles win this game. I think Saquon Barkley has a monster day, and they're able to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field for extended periods of time in this game. The way the Eagles match up, I think they're going to run the ball down their throat. The Eagles' offensive line is considerably better than the Chiefs' front seven, in my opinion. And there's a lot of meat on that offensive line, and they get a few weeks to get healthy. Jurgens and Dickerson were both banged up in that game, and the Eagles still scored 55 points, right, guys? So, all right, there we go, guys. That is our first live Tuesday episode. I'm going to try to go every single Tuesday, 11 o'clock West Coast time, 2 o'clock Eastern time. I'm going to go live for you guys for at least a half an hour to chop it up. We're going to talk NFL offseason. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl. We're going to talk about predictions. We're going to talk about the draft. We're going to talk about free agency every single Tuesday. Make sure you set a reminder, 11 o'clock West Coast time, 2 o'clock on the East Coast. I hope you guys are excited for the Super Bowl. I know I am extremely, extremely excited. Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs have a chance at history, and Saquon Barkley looks to get his first Super Bowl ring. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you guys tuning into the J All Day Sports Show. Until next time, peace. All right, thanks, buddy. Have a good one, guys. Later.